to actually watch some of it rather than just pop in and say hi, since we're all in
Yeah,
the same festival.
it'd be amazing. I
Um,
mean, Georgia last year, she was there for 2 days, just watched everything. She was just there the whole time. It was so funny.
okay,
She had such fun.
okay.
So yeah, you know Georgia, don't you? Obviously,
If you can give me,
yeah, she recommended. She said she had to ask you to submit, but you were a bit shy. No, you were a bit worried. But yeah, so how do you know Georgia then?
well, basically, I didn't know about the festival. It hadn't really appeared in my radar, and
Mm.
because I know Georgia, like we were at the same film school, but like some years apart, and we
Mm.
happened to start like talking a bit more recently. And I was telling her about submitting my film, this or that, and she said, this is a good festival, and I think you should submit to that. And that's how I found out about it and submitted. And again, thank you so much for selecting the film. I honestly appreciate it very much.
No, it's funny really because Georgia last year did a film about ghosts, and then this year you're here with a film about a ghost. So it's like quite similar films, but very different. So it's quite nice. Like it'd be
Yeah,
good to watch them together. Would be quite fun, I think.
it's yes, I actually agree with that because I hadn't watched her film, and then I like at some point I asked her to send me a link, and I was like, "Oh, look, your film is about ghosts and well," and she actually has a scene in her film also takes place in the National Garden. It's not as
Yeah.
obvious. It's not a place that I used, but she also has a scene there. That was also very amusing to me.
So I've got a couple of questions. I've
Yes.
obviously I've watched the film. I think I've watched it 3 times now.
Okay.
It's very lovely film. Before I get to the film, I want to ask you about like it's a student film, and I know
Yes.
that you put on your bio that you're still not like being graded yet, or it's still not at the time.
Yeah.
So like, tell me about student life and how this was made. Were you given like specific projects, and or was it all your idea? And so how did this student film, have life?
Yes.
So tell.
Well, I would say that, well, I can speak about every film school in Greece, but in general, at least the time I was in Stavrakos Film School, it's very different to what I understand film schools are, how they operate in other places, for better or worse. Well, we're given a lot of liberty as to what we're going to do. We have to raise our own funds and stuff. I mean, if the school can help somehow, they will, but we don't really have that much of an infrastructure in terms of like equipment, for example.
Yeah.
We had to rent that out. But in order to graduate properly, you have to present a film. And to be honest, I finished my uh, uh, I've officially finished like my school years. They're not very strict to when you're going to present the film. My actual
Mm.
years of study ended. It's been quite some time now, but then again, I've now realized that I saw this film 2 years ago from now that we're talking. And so at the time, um, the school's main contribution to the film was that they wrote a permit for us to submit to the garden so that we could get a filming permit. And so the garden in turn let us film there for free because normally you have to pay to shoot there.
Yeah. Right.
And that was, and it's not cheap.
Mhm.
So that was a great financial aid in a sense provided by the school. Um, in the now, as far as the content of the film goes, in the third year, I initially wrote something else, and it got good notes, but I was told that maybe it would be more complicated to make it than I thought.
Mm.
So I kind of stuck, and I thought, okay, then I'll have to think of something else. And yeah, this was supposed to be the simpler project. Obviously, I was very naive when I
Mm.
thought this was going to be simple, but this is the story I eventually came up with. So that's sort of how, and I presented it because I post production took about a year. Um, so I actually finished the film like in spring of 2025,
Mm.
and I had the exams at school the same spring, or at June, I don't remember. So then by presenting the film for an examination with the teachers, I officially graduated from the school, from
Excellent. Good, good.
Stavropol Film School. That's how you want. I feel like I blabbered a bit. I hope I answered the
No,
question. I think
no, it's
it
good.
was a little
Yeah.
confusing the way I said it.
No, I understood it. I understood it perfectly. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you said it seems like a simple idea, but it's not. I like that it's set
Yes.
in a garden, outdoors. Oh, that must be easy, but of course it's not.
Yes.
So that was good
Yeah.
that you could shoot for free. I think because obviously the National Garden's beautiful, a beautiful place. Um, and so writing it. Because it's quite funny. Some of the lines are quite funny. There's a bit where when she realizes he's a ghost, he seems more surprised than she does because you'd expect the human, the alive person, to be like, "I don't believe it, no, no." But she's sort of okay, and he's like, "Oh, I don't understand why you can see me." I found that funny. And there's one bit where she's talking and he says, "You're very nosy." So, like, was it meant to be funny? And did you
Yes.
base that on any like Greek cinema or old cinema that? Because it reminded me of a very old cinema, like going back to the 30s, but also like 60s. Were you influenced by that? And was comedy on the menu?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you found it funny because I definitely tried for it, like in the first half of the film, to be funny. And because sometimes I was it with some people, and I was in some scenes I was checking to see if people were laughing, like the scene with the duck.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
that so yes, obviously it was meant to be funny, and I mean I tried. I hope it was fun because and yes, one of the, like what you mentioned, it's funny. I very consciously felt like I shouldn't spend a lot of time to her being like, oh my God, that's a ghost, I cannot believe it. I thought it would be funnier for her to just kind of accept it immediately.
Yeah.
I remember the scene from a film from Pasolini. I don't remember the English title. The Italian title is Uccellacci e Uccellini, where it's
Mm.
basically like a man and his son. They walk and they meet a crow that can speak, and the son is like, "Oh, Dad, look! This crowd can speak like it's the most
Mm.
natural thing in the world." And
Yeah.
so I wanted to treat it in a similar way. And the film in general, I would say that most of my references were like older stuff. Because like you said, the like the male character, he dies in like the early 20s. We have a sequence where it's sort of silent. Some effects, I thought I was a little inspired. I was thinking about Jean Cocteau's films where he has like simple editing tricks that somehow he makes them look amazingly beautiful. We try to do that in the scene, like a reverse thing in the scene where they land, where they both land um, in her couch, because
Yeah.
we actually saw that from the reverse and then we played it back. And one of my uh, one main reference for the film, both in content and in like and how it looks, it was a Polish film by Andrzej Wajda. The English title is called The Birch Tree. I think this
Yeah.
is 1970,
Yeah.
precisely there. So yeah, we there were a lot of ideas in my head with regards to like both the content and the form, and like you said, a lot of it was films from earlier decades.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah. I believe you're director of photography is here as well.
Yes, and
Hello.
I'm very happy.
Hello, guys. Hi.
Hello. Hi. So we're just yeah, I'll talk about we can talk about the cinematography then, and the editing, and because the film obviously you started with the from the 1920s, the little bit of text, and then I do feel like in the fades to black, the way it was shot, it was very much like you could tell that you love old cinema. You wanted to capture old cinema, especially with the fades to black and the way the photography, because obviously the National Guard and you don't need to make any effort to make it look beautiful. But yeah, so from a photography perspective, then what conversations did you two have about like getting the old classic cinema, but also keeping it modern as well?
It's the both because here in Greece we have a lot of old buildings, and the garden it's very nice.
Mm.
The script it's about the two worlds, the old one and the new one, like the cinematography.
Yeah, definitely. And he was like sort of like he was almost black and white, wasn't he? Was that makeup or was that were you like playing with lenses? How did you get him to look like he'd well faded, but he also looked like he was from a black and white film?
It was the makeup
Okay.
and color grading help very much. Um, and the old lenses we have it's very smoothly
Mm.
in the skin.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I would say that like the main direction, I guess, was that the way I see it, the film is a fairy tale. So a lot of the discussion about how it should look and feel, a lot of the decision revolved around that. That to create this sort of like dreamy or maybe romantic atmosphere,
Yeah.
aided by the garden, because I feel like the garden, even from writing it, felt to me like a place that was ideal to set a fairy tale.
How long did you shoot for then? I know you managed to get shoot for free. How many days did you have? And did you have any like challenges, or did it go smoothly, or did you run out of time and be like, oh no?
Dimitra, please tell.
Which okay, yeah. Well, there were. I would say most of the challenges were like before shooting. We did have some problems during shooting.
Right.
We shot for like wait 5 or 6 days, something like that.
uh,
Not full
Six.
days, because we had some restrictions with the actors, but we shot like I can't remember if it was like 5 or 6 days.
It's six
Uh,
days.
6 days, yes. The second day, we were in the garden. We were shooting the first meeting. From what I understand, we had some technical problems, and it was a bit difficult because we also had to do like difficult camera movements. So that was a bit challenging. But I feel like at the end, it's mostly it was mostly good. Well, we were a little restricted some days by the availability of our actress. It's not her fault, but she was also working, so she had to be there. But there were a couple of ideas that I had that didn't make it in the final. But like, for example, at the end it was for the better because for example, in the initial meeting, I had written that instead of two girls doing a picnic, I had written that there are two girls playing tennis and the ball goes to him. And we didn't manage to find two people who could actually play tennis. But that was for the best in the sense that it would have made the shoot even more complicated.
Yeah.
So in the end, it would have been against us. I think yes. The first day was very difficult for me. We also had some trouble because it was the first day in the garden, and some people at some point people got lost. But it was also like very stressful for me. But I would say that the rest of the days, no matter what came up, I felt like it was okay. Oh, I almost forgot. Sorry. Um, Initially, we were the house that you see in the film. It's my house,
Okay.
but it we weren't supposed to shoot there. We had originally the plan was to shoot in Andreada's house, and like one day before the shooting, the owner saw her like
And the owner, it's like, oh my god, no, this all going to my house, no, 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 no. It was like that.
My gosh. Wow,
yeah.
challenges. Yeah, from a director of photography point of view, then what worked well, and what were your favorite moments or favorite shots, I suppose, where you look back and you're like, ah, I did a good job there. What were your favorite parts?
I believe it's the skin in Dimitra house
Mm.
in the night. It's because we're shooting a day for night, and it was my first day for night, and it is challenge for me.
Yeah,
But it is good
yeah,
because it was great, all the team, and all rolling perfect.
yeah.
The atmosphere, it's like home. One team, one home.
Nice.
It's family business.
Yeah, because you've got because it's quite the scenes at the end are quite dark, but you're obviously filled with light throughout. So when you have that as an audience watching the
Mhm.
contrast, you have to get that right,
Yeah.
and it's really good. The interior shots are excellent as well towards the last part of the film. Yeah, so yeah, really great film movie to look at. You know, I really enjoyed it. From a writing perspective, I suppose, because I think the writing might be my favorite part of it because there were two people interacting like that where, like I said before, you expect the human to be, oh, I don't believe you, you can't be a god, but he's like he seems like a bit sort of, oh, I don't know why you can see me, and a bit fed up. I really love that. How long did it take to write this script, and what's your writing style? Do you sit by yourself? Do you put music on? What is your style of writing? What do you sit by yourself and
Oh
shut the doors?
dear. Um, So I think that if I remember correctly, because it's been now a long time since I've written it, as far as I can remember, the first draft didn't take that much time, actually. Like I had to brainstorm at the beginning, but as soon as I did that, if I can, as far as I can recall, it actually didn't take that much to write. Um, Much later, when we were closer to the shooting, I did some rewrites, but it was mostly like dialogue stuff. Like the actual structure didn't really change from what you saw in the final. What works for me when writing? Writing is actually a bit hard for me. Like I think about stuff all the time, but actually putting them down is hard for me, and my attention span has I feel like it's gotten worse in I'm trying to get control of it again, I guess. Lately I've been going to cafes, to coffee shops to write, and I found out that this works for me. Actually, it
Mm.
actually helps me to get out of my house. I don't know, maybe my house is not a good environment, but it's been really helpful for me I've really made progress by going out and sitting in coffee shops to write. And when I finish a draft, like what I did when I wrote this was I immediately show it to people to get some feedback. Like I very much believe in doing that.
Mm.
um, you can get and all sorts of help or note from doing that. So that's pretty much it, I guess.
Mm. Just
But
two more
yeah,
quick.
the actual writing part is not really my
No, well,
favorite.
it comes across well, because the two people talking is really important if it doesn't
Yes.
make sense. But like I said, when he says to her, you're a bit nosy," it's funny because he's like he should know what humans are like. If they find out that you're dead, they want to know what's going on. But he's like,
Yes.
"Oh, I don't really want to answer your questions." It was funny. Just two quick questions. One is about like your collaborations, obviously, director of photography and your editors. Was that part of the were they students as well? And you had to like, or are they your friends? Are they people you've known for a long time?
Mm, no, Dimitra and I met for one friend, Apostolos. I believe, Dimitra, we work together with Apostolos. Yes.
Yes, we were at the same shot. I was looking for uh, because um because like I said, I actually, it took me some time to make this.
Mm,
um Andreada was also at the same film school as I was, but she was like some classes after me, and we happened to be with Apostolos at the film shot, and I was looking for a director of photography, and he recommended Andreada to me. And what happened was that a lot of people in the shoot, they were students, but they
Yes.
weren't really from my class. Most of the people were like in Andreada's year.
okay.
All the people in set. We have many works together,
Mm,
and we collaborate perfect.
okay. Love it. Um, and my last question, it might be obvious, is the film is surely about post-COVID, and
Yeah.
that when COVID finished, we thought everything would be okay, but we all felt more lonely than ever, didn't we? Is this film really about that as well? Because it's not just the mask, but it is. She's very lonely, isn't she? And obviously he is for different reasons. But is it about post-COVID and where we are now?
I would say, well, I guess the idea it was that it was also like sort of during COVID, but I
Mm,
don't mind. The post-COVID also works just fine. I think, you know, I'm not sure. I'm glad that you're asking me about this. I'm not sure if I would have thought of that story if COVID hadn't happened,
Yeah,
because I was a person that took it very seriously. I continued to mask for a long time, more systematically than many, uh, much much more than other people in my surroundings. I do think, yes, the lockdown wasn't that hard for me personally. I know it was much harder for other people, but I do feel like it has affected us, like the pandemic, in many ways, and we don't really talk about it. Like, people just kind of act like it never happened. I
yeah,
feel like everybody's like, oh my God, I'm glad that this is over now. But
yeah,
I think that it may have affected us in ways that we have not completely realized.
yeah. I like that. Yeah, it made me think of that. Yeah, and not just like loneliness as necessarily a bad thing, but we're very. I mean, I was very much mask. Even when it was finished, I'd keep my mask, and people do. They don't make fun of you, but they do say you don't need to wear the mask now. But it's all part of that internal. We struggle. We have struggled. I mean, what was
Yes.
6 years ago, and we're still kind of thinking about it. But yeah, not talking about it. You're right. You're right. So
Like, she talks in the film about feeling afraid to go out, and nobody really shares that fear. I feel like I was wondering, while we were in the peak of it, if people were being a bit like egotistical. They were like, okay, I don't like wearing mask. I don't really care about whether somebody has a problem with that. I just wanna, like, feel comfortable or whatever. So
yeah.
yeah, things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it made me think that because it is a lovely film. I'll finish by saying I really enjoyed it. And it was one day we should screen it with George's film Boo because
Yeah.
the brother and sister films it'd be lovely. But yeah, like really well shot. I love the fades to black, like it was like very much an old picture. I love that, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the audience think. So it's nice. There's a lot of heavy short films about big subjects, and this is a big subject, but this is more. This is going to make people smile, I think. So yeah, so congratulations on it, really.